Good day to all. I would like to adopt the protocol that has already been established. It is indeed an honor to address you today on behalf of all the young people of this nation, for it is a day in which we have gathered as one to celebrate as a nation 39 years of independence. It is a time for us to firstly give all the thanks, glory, and praise to the Most High God, whose grace and mercy has allowed us to tarry on to this day. It is also a time for us not to just celebrate and reflect on our achievements thus far, but to also be proud of where we have positioned ourselves as a nation in an effort to create opportunities for our people in the future. It is also a time for us to pay homage and tribute to our leaders of the past, both political and academic, who have so tirelessly plowed the lands of progress in an effort to develop this beautiful island that we call home. And we shall do so in all good faith that as a nation, we are headed in the right direction. For this momentous occasion, we have all convened at this location, and it represents the perfect opportunity for us to put aside our differences and to amass all our rich and diverse intellectual abilities that we have so been blessed with as a nation, and make optimum use of that great resource, the greatest resource that any nation could possess, its human resource, and by greater extension, the youth. As we execute an in-depth introspection and retrospection in search of the major limitations that have so negatively affected our progress, we must realize that at this opportune time, certain structures do require a bit of change. May I state boldly that it is imperative and timely at this time that a 25-year national development plan, both for agriculture and tourism, be put in place, commissioned, and implemented in our country. For we have observed how consistent fluctuations, characteristic of our leadership environment, in itself has proven to be a great limitation. Today, the cries of many of our people are audible, echoing through the hills of our country, as many of them, especially the young people, often go through difficult times. And so listening here today might be that one person who has tried and has since failed. That person who is struggling and has given up or is beginning to give up hope. I am here to remind you that success in life is not about how many times you fail or falter, but by your ability to stand up again and continue persevering. Have that tenacity for persistence. Be determined, and eventually your dreams and goals will be realized. Let us stay woke, for our combined successes ultimately work towards building of a progressive and prosperous nation. Even as we take a moment to ponder on the meaning of the theme for independence this year, I am St. Lucia. It is obvious how well these four words epitomizes this very concept, as each and every single one of us play a vital role in the overall development of our country. I am St. Lucia. Sadly, however, it will be disappointing of us to ignore the fact that the spirit and the unity and patriotism amongst our people is in a steep and steady decline. Consequently, it is so often that we hear many young persons amongst us still question, are we indeed independent? What have we accomplished as a nation? But if we take some time to sit and reflect over the past few decades, a sufficient number of milestones become very pellucid. As young people, we need to remember that a profound interest in our history and culture is of utmost importance, and it will help us understand where we came from and therefore where we are going. It has been a rather interesting journey for our people, as we have had to endure a plethora of obstacles as we tarry along this upward hill to development. Disasters, both natural and economic, have hindered our pace as a nation, as a small island developing state. But time and time again, as a people, our immense propensity to be resilient has kept us steadfast and focused as we strive to keep progressing. As we press on, however, looking forward to the distant and not so distant future, we cannot deny the obvious. The approaching of a time which is even more difficult, one characterized by changes in our cultural, social, and moral fabric, new economic phenomena, climate change, and several other factors which contribute to the creation of environments littered with even more complex limitations to development. As we remain cognizant of that troubling reality, it then becomes imperative that we seek to formulate holistic and coherent plans which will prepare us to face and tackle head-on the days ahead. To this end, I urge our leaders to realize how increasingly important it is to place greater emphasis into youth development efforts. For if the youth are failed, we all shall fail. And our 39 years of hard work and dedication could very well all be lost. May I say, contrary to belief of many critics, a large percentage of the youth demographic are very promising, talented, and ambitious persons who are willing to develop themselves positively. Others whose attitudes seem to suggest otherwise are actually products of the very system that we ourselves have created, plagued with social and economic ills which are detrimental to the development. However, as we proudly celebrate independence and what we have achieved thus far, we as a people need to rally together to seek the implementation of additional youth development programs and activities in our communities, which will build the youth's capacity to effectively and efficiently take over the mantle of leading our country forward, and therefore ultimately having reasons to wholeheartedly and proudly celebrate independence in the future. As I conclude, I would like to remind you of a quote from the great Jackson Brown Jr., which says, and I quote, "The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today," end of quote. And I say to you all, the youth is the nation of tomorrow. Let's do the best for them today. A happy independence to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Jeshwan Andrew, President of the National Youth Council.